I'm Linda, glad to have you back. I just finished up Crimson Moon with the help of a bowl and some contact paper. I was able to put this in place. I'll show you step by step. Let it dry, put in some beautiful pine trees. I know you're going to love this one. Pause and paint, follow me. So let's get started. So here are the paints I used. Acrylics, black, white, and alizarin crimson. Clear contact paper by Duck. Oils with liquid clear, titanium white, black, Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, sap green, cad yellow, and red. I bought some contact paper. It's just plain old, I bought clear, but there is paper type, but I just got the clear kind. Anyway, I put it upside down, and I picked a bowl. I had a plate the last time, but I downsized with the bowl. It's a little bit smaller. Whoops, so this is how I do it. Just lay it on there, and take a pen, and just draw around it, and get your circle there. Okay, what I'm going to do next, cut it out, and then I'll show you where to put it. Okay, I've got a 16 by 20 canvas, dry, and what I'm going to do, before I start, I'm just going to, here's that piece of a circle that I cut out. I'm going to kind of put it, lay it here, and kind of visualize where I want that moon to sit. I want enough room on the sides so that I can add some pine trees and will overlap on the moon a little bit. And then I want enough on top open so I can put up some pretty skies with reflections of that pinkish light. So it's going to be slightly over the center line. So if you can just hold that thought as to where this is going to go, then you'll understand why you need to put the moon right there. So I'm going to paint underneath it with acrylic. Okay, so that's kind of where it's going to sit right there. So keep that in mind. So I'm using acrylic, and I've got alizarin crimson, white, and black. And that's all you need for this. Alright, so I'm just going to start, put a little bit on my brush, and I'm just going to start in the center. That's about where that moon's going to go, right there. And I'm just going to brush out lightly, like this. There we go. You know what, I might add just a little bit of water to this, because you want it to stay smooth. You don't want to see any brush lines in there. Some areas are going to be darker. I'm going to add a little dark after I get the circle in, but this is kind of where it's going to go, right there. So I'm going to fill in. You don't have to worry about the edges because that's going to be all black after we get done. So just little X strokes all the way around. Maybe a little darker here and there. Gotta work kind of fast because it is acrylic. And it does dry pretty fast. You just keep going. Okay, I'm going to hold up my piece of contact paper. Oh, I've got plenty of room. Yeah, that's good. So I'm just going to concentrate now in the middle, in the center. Okay, here we are with this phase. I'm going to put the contact paper, I want to place it right over the top of where I want this moon. Now the easiest way to get this contact tack paper off is to pick. And boy, it's kind of tough, but I got it. And you just carefully pull it off. And of course, you put the sticky side down. And you're gonna put it right about where you want it. I wanna go, I think I'm gonna go right here. Like that, and then you just smooth it out. So I wanted to leave enough on this side for a couple of pines, and then I wanted more of a space on top for some clouds. Because the horizon line or your tree line is going to be right about there. It's below the halfway mark. So anyway, you just take it and make sure it's all nice and sealed. And then we're going to put it back up on the easel. And just paint the whole thing with acrylic black. Acrylic. Alright? So now I am taking acrylic black, and I'm going to go over the whole edge of that moon, trying not to brush inward, but brushing more outward, and just coating all of that liquid acrylic black. Just all over. And then we're going to let it dry totally. Try and keep your line straight across. And smooth it out so you don't have any marks from the brush in there. Just make sure it's really nice and smooth. There I am smoothing it out. Just wiping the excess off on a paper towel. Now I'm pulling it off after it's totally dry. Now I'm putting on some liquid clear, just a very thin light coat. You don't want to put too much on there, but you want enough for your paint to flow nice. Just blend that all in, and then you can take a paper towel and wipe a little bit of excess off. Now I'm going into alizarin crimson, and I'm going to go just below the halfway mark. Just brushing a little bit of that on, all the way down. I'm even going to take some Prussian blue and go right under there too. Put some blue, just probably halfway mark, and a little bit of Prussian up in the right hand corner. But I'm just blending that in. That's more alizarin there along the side. I'm putting a little of that alizarin across the moon also. Just blending some of that in. Now I'm going into titanium white with my 1-inch. And I'm just going to make some little indentations of clouds. It's a little back and forth, little X strokes motions. And you'll be picking up on a little bit of that crimson. It's going to make it look really pretty. Bringing some of that white down, maybe a little bit below halfway. And then around the side of the moon, giving it that hazy effect. Putting a little more on top, little X strokes. Kind of hard to see here, but it'll all show up after we get going. Now I'm putting some more white around the bottom part of the moon. Kind of looks like cloud movement down there. I'm leaving those little streaks in there, making the top a little bit lighter. And I'm putting in a little, just a tiny, tiny bit of phthalo blue and alizarin just to put some darker areas in the moon. And now I'm taking a brush, I'm just a little touch of white, and I'm gonna do the top edge of that moon so it looks like it's got a little bit of a glow to it. Now I'm adding some clouds on the right there, just circular motions with the top part of a brush. I'm using a round one this time, or you can use a fan brush too, it doesn't matter. Going around the other side, just putting a little cloud movement in there, brushing upward and then across. So now I'm mixing some Prussian and some sap green. I'm making a real pretty bluish green, more blue than green. I'm going to put a tiny little background trees way in the background. Just with my fan brush tapping, just put a little tiny row way back there, maybe a little higher on the right, and just go just underneath that moon. Leave some of that haziness or the foggy underneath the bottom part of the moon. Leave that part there, and just add a little row far in the distance. Just tapping. I'm going to do like a little U shape there. Some a little taller, just staggering the heights there. Now I'm brushing in the same color underneath, just kind of looks like a little grassy area, but I just want to make a line underneath that. Now I'm going to start putting in a little bit of water, so you should have some Prussian blue down there, a little bit, so the blue will start to come through. I'm just doing a little side to side motions for background waves and water movement in the back. Just working my way forward a little bit, just little rocking motions with the fan brush. Creating some wave-like movement in the back. I'm going into titanium white with a little bit of liquid white. We're going to start putting in the waterfall. I'm loading that brush up pretty good. There's going to be a section that comes inward, down, and then the other side inward and down, like a V. And it's just off center. It's not right in dead center. It's just off. There we go. Nice roll of paint. And just glide it over and pull down just effortlessly. Go to the other side and down. Just kind of join them together. Now I'm taking a dry brush and I'm tapping at the base, tapping that water down below there, softening it up, getting ready for a little more white. I'll tap some white in there, but you can see the crimson kind of poking through. Now I've got a little white on my brush, just tapping below that. The more you tap, the softer it gets. So makes for pretty splashies. Now I'm going to get ready. I'm going to put in some pine trees. I'm marking. It's the sap green with a little more Prussian. But I'm going to mark where my trees are going to go, and they're quite tall. Figuring out where I want that tree. Just kind of putting a line there down so I know where to go. Tapping a little line. I'm going to do that with another tree here. I like to know where I'm going with my tree boughs. I'm putting another one right there. Just marking it all the way down. And those are pretty large trees there. So, okay, now I'm going to start adding my tree boughs with the corner of my fan brush, zigzagging back and forth, tapping lightly, just rocking it. And push harder as you go down. Not so much on top. You want some nice clean looking tree boughs. But as you work your way down, you're going to press a little bit harder. Make sure you load your fan brush up. Now I'm going to go down all the way. Getting a little wider as you go down. Okay, now I'm going to the second one there, doing the same thing, rocking back and forth, little zigzags. And if the paint doesn't stick, just dip your brush in a little bit of paint thinner. And then just kind of blot it off and go right into your paint. It should stick just really good. And just going all the way down. I'll be highlighting these trees so you'll be able to see the tree boughs much better. But I want to make sure I know where to go with those highlights. Okay, so I'm marking my next tree. In that little tip is going to go in part of the moon. And another one. And another one, a couple more. I just want to know where I want to go there. Get my outline. Because once I start tapping those branches in, kind of know, can't go back. There we go, just zigzagging back and forth. And a little more pressure as we get toward the middle. And like I said, if it doesn't stick, dip your fan brush in a little bit of thinner. Blot it off and reload. And go right down, you can go right over part of that waterfall. The branches are hanging over. Just overlap them a little. And the one next to it, I didn't go all the way down. It's kind of back, farther back. So I'm trying not to cover up some of that pink sky back there along the edge, because I want to leave that part. That looks pretty nice. And again, I'm just going to overlap and go all the way down. And now I'm taking a palette knife with a little roll of white, and I'm just kind of accentuating the tree trunks. And I do that here and there on both sides. So I'm going to put in a couple little trees, little white trees. Got a little liner brush with a nice little thin roll of paint on it. And it just forms some little trees that are kind of sticking out there. Just put 3 or 4 little branches on. I'm going to put one on the other side. It's a little one. I kind of roll my brush as I pull up on those. And I'm putting a little dark with a black one down at the kind of toward the bottom there. So now I'm going to add some highlights. Got some titanium white with a touch of liquid white mixed. Makes for easy. It'll stick really nice. Just here and there, mainly on the inside of those trees. Pressing down a little harder as you get to the bottom. And just do the same thing to the next tree. Corner of the brush, tapping lightly, little zigzags. Doesn't have to be solid, just here and there. Just angle those boughs toward the waterfall. They're hanging. And if you have a real light spot there, you can always take a clean fan brush, dip it in that dark bluish green, and just touch it up, fill it in a little bit if you think you have too much white. That tree is kind of overlapping, and that's okay. And to the other last tree there, just tap some of that in. It looks so pretty, doesn't it? So I am taking some of that dark, and I am filling that bottom. I'm making it a little bit darker down there. And now I'm flicking in some little stars in the background with fan brush and just the end of a little brush. I think I see a finished painting here. I really love doing this one, and I hope you do too. So if you'd like to see more of these, click the like button, follow me, share if you want, that would be awesome. So until next time, God bless and happy painting.